Travis Wayne Goodsell. Had to listen to the full song of Ministry's New World Order. Remember those days? Remember when we used to hear the warnings about the Illuminati's New World Order and the destruction and the locking up of American citizens? Guess what we got going on now with coronavirus? So that's why my videos are darker now, talking about the dark side of reality. We were all warned, we all knew, and yet our government and the leaders continue to gaslight us. Not just Trump. Remember when Trump said this was all a hoax? Now he's saying it's a pandemic. Is it a hoax or a pandemic? Anyway, Governor Herbert has closed down all dine-in restaurants. So fast food restaurants, drive-thrus are the only ones that are allowed to be opened as long as they don't have in-store dining. Food banks. And food banks already are for those who are the food banks don't have enough. They don't even have enough for the people that have previously needed it. And yet, here they are, relying on food banks to save citizens during this time. Again, more gaslighting, brainwashing. You know, where's the church in all of this? Oh yeah, they closed. Doesn't the church have food banks? They have bishop storehouses. What are they using them for? They're closed. Instead of implementing a worldwide distribution center network to provide food for people during this crisis, the church closed. And so here they illustrate their lack of cultural understanding, where the title of ABC4 News' one video upload is called "Pick Up a Movie and Practice Social Distancing." All of the video rental stores are closed. Nobody picks up a video anymore. What the hell are they talking about? You stream a video. And that's not going to last very long, because how are people going to continue to have an internet service for streaming if they can't afford it, because they have no money to pay for it? The one thing that was really getting my goat, though, was... where was that? Oh, here's their reliance on mental health care professionals. Oh, people are concerned and afraid, therefore they need a mental health person to tell them, get over it and take some drugs. What a scam. Where was it? Did I already go over it and not realize I went over it? Oh, yeah. How is coronavirus pandemic impacting the children? Oh, somebody think of the children! Simpsons homage. Come on. Where was it? Because I haven't talked about it. Because it's... Yep, here. Oh, there it is. People are testing positive when they don't have symptoms. This is what I warned and worried would happen. Unbelievable. So, I can't remember the title. I keep forgetting the title. It's the Will Smith movie where he's the scientist who caused the zombie apocalypse, and then stayed behind in New York City to try to find the cure. Let's see, Will Smith. Empty City. Yeah, I Am Legend. In that movie, there's a scene, a flashback scene, where everybody is panicking and trying to flee the city as they're trying to lock it down, keep all the zombies inside New York City. And helicopters were taking people out, but they had to test positive or test negative for the zombie virus. And Will Smith, who has high government status with his badge, was going to stay behind. He was trying to get his wife and son out, and it was his son, I think. One of them tested positive. Now the test they were using was an eye retinal scan, where you place the device over the person's eyes, and it'll click on green for good to go, or red for nope, they've got it, kill them. And Will Smith says, test him again. And you're like, wait a minute. If these testing devices are not accurate, why are you using them? And sure enough, they retested the kid. He's fine. Magically cured. Amazing. Hold on a second while I take care of this other project. Okay. Got 10 minutes on the other project. And so that's what we're experiencing here, is we were concerned that when people do their own test kits that are not approved by the federal government, because the federal government is slowing the process down, preventing people from getting tested. And so people are getting desperate, especially here in Utah, to get testing done and out into the public use. And so you've got people who are trying to scam the medical companies by selling defective products during a time of crisis. And that's what I was concerned of. And that's what we might be witnessing, just like we did with the Me Too movement as well. The Me Too movement started with a serious allegation of rape and sexual abuse against a number of women in Hollywood specifically, but then others emerged as well, saying Me Too. And then it got so big, exposing how our culture is at such a need of reformation or revolution. But then the frauds came in, and people were saying, well, Me Too, when they weren't. They were liars, purposely designed to take down those who they didn't like. And women were involved in that, men were involved in that, making false accusations against a person because they didn't like the person, or they got shunned from pursuing a relationship, or who knows what other excuses people were coming up with to sabotage the Me Too movement. And people who were innocent, found innocent in a court of law, as cases were dropped against high celebrities and others who were wrongly accused and lost their TV shows. You know, programs were shut down and discontinued, and the people's lives were ruined when we find out they were false accusations. and nobody wanted to talk about that in the news. It all went silent. It was a situation where it got out of control, and everybody was ashamed as a result. And we didn't solve the problem that caused Me Too in the first place. And so instead, we now have cancel culture that emerged from that. And that's what we're seeing here with the coronavirus, is that it is a real virus, and our government is refusing to test us. And as a result, people are getting desperate for anyone who will test them. And now we're getting false negatives. But as the news report here, people testing positive for COVID-19 without symptoms, they're not talking about fraudulent cases, because heaven forbid people would do that during a time of crisis. They're saying that, anybody could have it. And so we all need to be afraid. If you're not showing symptoms, you still have it. So that's a psychiatrist approach in Utah. If you admit that you aren't mentally ill, you're mentally ill, because you're in denial. So, that's why they're pushing mental health as well on ABC4 News Utah. They're pushing the Nazi propaganda used in World War II in Utah. The news is pushing it. That's how brainwashed Utah is. That's how corrupt Utah is. And now we don't know because of the false negatives. Are we really having symptoms, or is it a fake test that was put into the system because we were desperate because the federal government wouldn't supply us the tests quick enough? And this was what I was worried about. See, we can't trust our government, and now during a crisis, we still can't trust our government. Because I could test positive, I don't have any symptoms, and because I test positive, they'll quarantine me to my house or to a hospital unless they're overflow with the other people who have tested positive. All because they want the test to show otherwise, to lock me up as a critic of the Mormon Church or a critic of the Utah Nazi government. See how this works? This was the fear that we were all warned about. And it's here. And this is horrifying. So be cautious. Because if you don't get symptoms ever, you never had it. You're supposed to get symptoms if you test positive, because your body fights it. That's what the symptoms are your body saying, oh, we've got a virus, we need to fight it and get rid of it. So you get the temperature, you have the shortness of breath, you have the other symptoms that are associated with whatever virus you have. In this particular case, it's coronavirus. So you're supposed to have symptoms. Your body has to fight it. If your body doesn't fight it, you die, because it doesn't have an immune system to fight it. And so this is what nobody is telling us, as we're being misled by the news and deceived by our government, who are specifically using it to eventually lock up the wrong people. But that's their intention. So, yeah. New World Order, Armageddon, World War III, it's here.